Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay. Blue skies, feel the wind beneath you as you fly.
Hey you guys, so today I wanted to do another quick video for you guys. Yes, we did. Yes, we are so excited. I wanted to do another quick video for you guys kind of about pregnancy mental health, I would say. So I actually have done a pretty good job thus far in pregnancy, and I would love to provide you guys with a postpartum update once I have baby. But I wanted to do this quick recap for you. I'm trying to get a couple videos done because I'm going in for a procedure later in the week that is a pretty big deal. So baby could end up being here sooner than we thought. Hence why I'm trying to get all these videos done now. Anyways, I want to talk with you guys a little bit about depression and anxiety during pregnancy, infant loss, and also postpartum depression. Just the latter two from more of a professional standpoint because I don't have personal experiences with those things. I am, if you guys don't know, I am finishing up my degree in counseling, psychology, and also with like a clinical psychology background and focus. I am a neuroscientist right now. I was a behavioral neuroscientist, and I love talking about the brain, science, behavior, human behavior, development, all those kind of things. And I am going to specialize in women's health. So I'm working mostly with women on women's mental health issues. So that is like a little bit of my background. If you want to learn more, just shoot me a DM on Instagram or leave me a message in the comments below if you have questions kind of about my background and credentials. So this is not to say that I'm like trying to pass judgment on any of these things or discount your story or your experience if yours is different than anything that I'm saying, because we as people all live our own lives, and each one of us, even if we have the same diagnosis, experiences it in a very, very different way. So that kind of disclaimer, that disclaimer head, this is just meant to kind of help people talk through things and tell you a little bit about my experience. So I have in my life struggled with depression, so I definitely trend more that way than the anxiety side of things. But I haven't struggled with depression for a while. I mean, I think you struggle with mental health things every day of your life for the rest of your life if it's something that you're inclined to. But kind of based on our circumstances and stressors in life, we're able to handle them better or worse depending on what's going on. So what I mean by that is someone may struggle with depression at one point in their life and not struggle with it at other times because the triggers and the stressors are not being experienced, or they're really stable, or something's happened that has changed kind of their situation and their outlook, or you know, whatever. Now often it's change itself that induces mental health problems, because we don't like change as people, as human beings. We don't adjust well to change. So being a diverse person trying to adjust to life and take things in stride definitely helps you in combating the things that you struggle with or could struggle with every day. And the other thing I'll say is just having like a daily practice or something for self-care. I know people talk about self-care a lot. Self-care is not like going to the nail salon and getting your nails done, or going to the spa and spending tons of money. Self-care can look like pampering yourself, but it's more a mindset, a way of life, and a daily practice or something habitual that you incorporate into your life to really just give back to your mind, your body, and your soul. And what I mean by that is, it could be, for me, nature is like a big self-care thing. It could look like hiking, or it could look like gardening. For me, that was a huge thing getting ready for my wedding, was like planting flowers and growing flowers and picking flowers and just kind of like being outside, getting my hands in the dirt and just having those mindful moments. And I think that's it. It's these self-care times are times where you're mindful. It's not sitting in the nail salon scrolling through Instagram or listening to the chitter chatter or gossiping. It is or talking on the phone or whatever. It's times where you are fully present. Mindfulness is taking in every sensory component of your surroundings, including yourself, your surroundings, what you're feeling, thinking, seeing, you know, like anything like that, tasting maybe, you know, like maybe it's raining and you taste the raindrops, I don't know. But that is really important to just living a healthy life free from mental health stuff. So how does this relate to pregnancy? Well, it relates to pregnancy because, man, your hormones just go like crazy when you're pregnant. They change so much from the moment that you kind of, you know, before you even know you're pregnant, 4 weeks before you even know you're pregnant probably, through birth and after birth. And it's really a field that's just starting to get some attention. You know, people have been talking about postpartum depression for a while, but even the research there isn't a lot of it. And I think part of that's because it's women's health, so it's just kind of now being researched. The other part of that is there isn't a lot of funding, and people need to call attention to these things and kind of push that they be talked about more and destigmatized so that more women can seek help and get support. So I wanted to make this video to talk to you guys a little bit more about these things. 2 things that happen a lot in pregnancy is women experience anxiety and depression. It's not postpartum depression, it's not postpartum anxiety, it's during pregnancy depression and during pregnancy anxiety. And I think part of this is created because we have this image in our heads of what pregnancy is supposed to look like. And I've mentioned before, I went on a rant on my Instagram story like 2 years ago when I was getting married. Well, not 2 years ago, but you know, when I was engaged at some point, about performance and basically like the pressure to perform on women. And what I mean by that is I think women have this pressure to be the perfect mom, be the perfect wife, perform marriage, perform pregnancy, perform engagement, whatever it looks like, or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So we have so much pressure to be like the perfect mom. Like, are you the mom that has the Pinterest activities where your baby like pulls the tissues out of the box Montessori style, and do you make homemade baby food? Or are you the mom that like just fed their kid pizza rolls, which I ate pizza rolls like yesterday, and I still like Montessori learning, you know, like it's, you know, it just doesn't have to be you know, 2 separate things. Life is life, and you know, hey, if your kids are alive, like good for you. But I do think that pregnancy is something that we feel a pressure to perform. And what I mean by that is like if your pregnancy is hard or you're struggling with things mentally, and you're, you know, seeing on Instagram all the time, like every time you scroll, there's a girl holding her bump and talking about the glow and all these other things. Well, I didn't get the glow. I got rosacea and it was hard, and I was vomiting over my toilet at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. and like basically anytime I didn't eat saltines. And so it's like, did I want the glow? Yeah, but it didn't happen. And I think the pressure on me to feel like I needed to just be talking all wonderfully about my pregnancy was there more so because of this pressure we put on people. So women really do tend to, for whatever reason, struggle with postpartum anxiety and depression, or prepartum, or I can't speak today. Pregnancy anxiety and depression. These things not only happen because of pressure or things that we feel as environmental factors, but literally just hormonal changes in the body. So your emotions, your mental health is regulated by your hormones in the brain. It's kind of the way things are sensed and received, and the neurotransmitters that are released in your brain and cause binding in certain areas. So in pregnancy, all of these levels that your body has habituated to, which is a fancy way of saying gotten used to over time, normalized to, these levels that your body is used to functioning under totally change. So for the first time in your life, you're experiencing like these very, very different hormone levels, and it can trigger anxiety and depression. Depression is something where, I mean, you guys know how depression manifests, but it doesn't always look the way you think it might. You know, you're naturally tired in pregnancy. Oh, maybe I'm just tired. But, you know, can you not get out of bed because you're tired and your back hurts? Or can you not get out of bed because you just like feel totally unmotivated and you're struggling? And another reason why a lot of women struggle with these things is because you can't take a lot of depression and anxiety meds when you're pregnant. So if it's something you've been taking, well, say goodbye to it. You know, like you have to kind of go cold turkey or be weaned off or switch to one that is okay to use during pregnancy. It's very, very difficult. So Depression manifests in a lot of ways, a lot of symptoms of depression involve like excessive fatigue, headaches, you're crying all the time, you're particularly agitated, things like that. You just have no motivation, you feel dismal, and it can trend all the way towards suicidal ideation and things like that, just like no hope, feelings of loss and hopelessness and stuff like that. So a lot of those things, honestly, if you describe them, they're like normal pregnancy symptoms: agitation, extra crying, sleeplessness. But I think it's important to differentiate when those things are related to you just feeling like crap, and also when they're related to possibly something larger, and it's something to talk to people about. It's something to talk to your mom about, or your friends about, or your significant other about, or your OBGYN is a great place to start. There are support groups for all of these things. I know they have them at my hospital. I am planning on leading several in the future, and have done case studies and come up with plans on how to help people through this. The other thing women experience a lot in the beginning of pregnancy is anxiety. This I totally get. Not only are you experiencing like a myriad of symptoms which may involve like excessive sweating, agitation, like worrying thoughts, racing thoughts. Often they manifest physically, like difficulty breathing, panic attacks, sweats at night, not being able to fall asleep, worrying excessively, things like that. You feel like you're choking, or you're having stomach pains or back pains or anything. It can manifest itself very physically, both of these. Anxiety is a big one in pregnancy because you have this baby growing inside of you. You have doctor's appointments like every month. And then you have to sit at home for like a month and hope the baby's growing, hope the baby's alive, hope you hear a heartbeat at the 8-week appointment, hope that, the baby rotates in time, like all these different, hope that the 20-week anatomy scan turns out okay, hope that you're taking enough folic acid. Like there are so many things to stress about in pregnancy if you let yourself. But the miracle is like you're not in control of what's going on in your tummy. Like even if you think you are, like this has been the biggest test of patience and faith ever. Like pregnancy just shows you how little control you have over the miracle that's happening inside of you. And just for you to understand and comprehend like how miraculous it is, it took the largest supercomputer in the world to process the incoming sensory stimuli of 1 cubic micrometer of brain cortex. So brain cortex is the outermost covering of the brain. 1 cubic micrometer of that, teeny little bit, took the largest supercomputer in the world that currently exists known to mankind to calculate the incoming sensory information that was going to it. So like what? You're making something way more complex than that inside of you right now that has that and much more. So like, yeah, it's not something you control, and that's easier said than done. And I say this because trust me, I've been there, and I'm actually a little worried right now about stuff that's happening for me and our baby later in the week. But pregnancy anxiety is a thing. It's something that a lot of people struggle with and can lead to loss of appetite and all kinds of self-harm behaviors. So I just recommend that if this is something you're struggling with, talk to your OBGYN about it, talk to your support system, and find a network. There's lots of networks for expecting moms, and honestly, everyone has the same questions and the same fears. So that's that. The other thing I want to talk about is miscarriage and infant loss. This is a difficult thing to talk about, and something thus far we have not had to experience. It's really, there's no way someone that hasn't gone through this can fully understand the experience of someone that has gone through it, especially people dealing with infant loss, death from SIDS, or late-term miscarriages. It is something where there is help though, and it's something that requires not only support because your hormones are again doing all the crazy things I just mentioned, but also support because now you're adding grief to that and everything involved in the grieving process and the loss process, and probable difficulty, marital difficulties, struggles with husband, fiance, boyfriend, whatever. It's very, very difficult and very heavy. And that being said, there are a lot of resources out there for people struggling with infant loss, miscarriage, late term miscarriage in particular. I know there are a ton of support networks out there for you if this is something that someone you know or you, God forbid, are going through. I know that there's a lot out there because it's one of my research subspecialties areas, and there are a lot of networks even in our area for people to get plugged into that I've been hooking people up with. The last thing I want to talk about is postpartum depression and anxiety, PPD, PPA. These two are getting more research in recent years because I think doctors are starting to recognize that it is a big issue that's affecting moms. You know, they're things that, again, like the performance of pregnancy, we feel this pressure, and a lot of people think, oh, you're bringing a baby home, like you should be so happy, or you have this new baby, bundle of joy, like you should be so excited. And this is not discounting how miraculous babies are and being a family and bringing that child home, but it's a lot, and it's a lot of change, which I talked about at the beginning of this. It's a lot of change plus your hormones. Man, people, like, I talk about these hormones and I talk about mental health, and I'm someone that believes in both a pharmacologic and behavioral intervention process. And what I mean by that is I believe there's power in both drugs, medication, and in counseling and psychology and all of that, talking through it, whatever kind of behavioral approach you want to take. I do believe that there are certain disorders and mental health things that require medication for life. And then there are others where it's a balance between those two. And it's a balance of finding that behavioral component and raising that up as needed and lowering the pharmacologic. And then, a trigger happens and a life stressor happens and you raise the pharmacologic a little bit to help out the behavioral. They kind of crutch off of one another. I do think that postpartum depression and anxiety are the perfect example of this because your body has just been flooded again with another change in hormones. You were growing this human and all of the things that required, and plot twist, it's no longer in your body. So the biology is just totally different on like the way your body's functioning, where things are going, what you're producing, and how it's all being processed. So the reason why I stress this is because if you don't understand the way mental health works and mental health disorders work, you think, oh, this person's crazy, or you think, oh, yeah, they're on meds, or something like that. It's gotten a lot of stigma and associated like misconceptions, I would say, in our society. Having a mental health disorder is like having diabetes. In the same way that you have to balance and manage insulin and glucose, with diabetes you have to manage serotonin, dopamine, like all these different neurotransmitters and hormones in your body related to your mental health disorder. Now, the disorders have different brain areas and different neurotransmitters and hormones based on what you're struggling with, but regardless, it's no different than diabetes. You have too much of something, or you have too little of something, or it's being processed in the wrong way. And that's it. Like, it is not that you're crazy. I mean, I'm a little crazy, but like, we all are. I think we all are. The people that say they're not are the ones that like you really have to watch out for. But it's just figuring out how to find a balance with all of those things and find out what's going on with your system. Unfortunately, pregnancy swings you both ways on that spectrum, and so that's why postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety are so common. There is a difference between the baby blues and postpartum depression, though. I think the baby blues are that initial hormonal surge and that adjustment to change. It's okay, so like this huge change happened, we have this baby at home, we're not sleeping, which then causes a whole nother hormonal imbalance, and we're adjusting to these new difficulties and parenting together, or parenting as a single parent, or any of these things. And it's something that goes away after like a week or so, or starts to fade as you begin to habituate to the change and learn how to function now with your new body and with the baby and whatever other support you have. Postpartum depression doesn't go away. It's the baby blues. It's worse than the baby blues, and it keeps going. And so if you struggle with this, that's okay. And you know what? It's normal for your body to react in different ways than other people. And it's normal for your body to have a hard time adjusting to these changes because it's trying to like get back to that normal, but there's a new normal and so much has changed in your body and you've lost parts of it and everything is now being regulated in a different way, and you've had 9 months of processing with an entirely different being growing inside of you with different hormonal needs. So it's okay, and if you need help, there are a lot of support groups for that too. And I highly recommend seeing a psychologist or a counselor that specializes in postpartum depression or anxiety if this is something you struggle with, because the reality is like you need help, and you need help because you're a new mom or a new dad, but you also need help because you need someone that is going to give you love and support and also call you out when you need to seek either pharmacologic or behavioral intervention. And sometimes, especially with depression, like we can't identify when we need that. It's just hard. It's really hard. And so you need someone else that's going to intervene, and finding a counselor or a support group or a friend that you can be really honest with is that first step. So this was my little like pregnancy mental health thing. Now for me personally, I have not had the baby yet, so we'll see if I get postpartum depression or baby blues or any of the above. But I definitely felt I had a winter pregnancy, so I felt a little dreary, I would say, in the middle of second trimester. I think I wasn't super like I hadn't felt baby kick. I hadn't felt, I don't know, just like had a hard pregnancy physically, was away from family and friends, was dealing with winter and like seasonal affective disorder, whatever, just been like really crummy winter. And I don't know, I started feeling really sad. I was a little bit confused about how I was going to manage graduate school and working with having a child, finding a daycare, like all those kind of things that you face as like a new mom, and definitely started feeling really bummed. And I don't think I didn't have to seek intervention for full-on depression, but I also am really, really, really attentive to self-monitoring because of my field. And so self-regulating and self-awareness, and I check in with my mentors and whatnot about this, and it never trended to the point that it was so severe that I needed to seek intervention, but it was something I checked on every day, like how am I feeling today on my sliding scale. And it was hard. Like there were times when I just was like, wow, I feel lost. I'm not excited about this. Am I ready to be a mom? Like I haven't done the nursery. People had their nursery done at 12 weeks. Like I haven't done anything. I don't even have a crib, And so, you start to think about like, do I need to buy that sock that like checks its respirations? I don't even know. So that was probably the biggest thing for a few weeks, I would say, during second trimester. Other than that, I've been pretty good, honestly, and that's been a huge blessing. It's been a testament, I think, to the fact that I've been actively pursuing mindfulness and self-care things throughout this pregnancy, openly communicating with my support networks, my mom, my significant others, my best friends, and asking for help when I needed it, saying, hey, like I am struggling this week. I'm struggling emotionally and I need this from you, whether it's a friend, your mom, your husband, whatever. So yeah, I would say just kind of monitor, see how you change, your mental health changes, your body changes amidst everything else that's going on in your life. And if you struggle with any of these things, that's okay. That's normal. It's fine. And there is help out there, whether it's a support group or counselor, psychologist, there are people for you. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have questions about anything brain related, drop it to me below in the comment section. Make sure you hit subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Even if this wasn't what you were expecting, I wasn't entirely sure how to approach this video. So if you have suggestions or want me to go a different way with it, let me know below as well. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now.